Hello YouTube, welcome to another one of my Duel Links videos. Today I have for you a Noble Knight deck. If you guys were here for the pack opening, you know that I got very lucky and got 3 Noble Knight Medrot. I guess that's how you would pronounce that. Unfortunately, I only have 2 dry stand, so I'm kind of proxying one using Noble Knight Boars instead. You definitely want to run a 3rd dry stand. He's arguably more important than Medrot, if I'm being completely honest. He's the card that's gonna let you destroy your opponent's monsters. I mean, any face-up card they control, it's gonna let you protect your other monsters from being attacked or targeted. So it's a really good card. Hopefully I get a 3rd one eventually. I was able to play with this deck throughout most of the day, and I think it's very fun. It's definitely really strong. I think part of its advantage right now is that people don't know how to play against it, and sometimes you'll see them making mistakes that I feel like as the deck gets more popular and people know how to play against the deck, we will truly see what the deck is capable of. Right now it's I think a lot of its damage is being done with the surprise factor. But into the deck list, we have 3 Noble Knight Medrot. This card is treated as a normal monster while face up on the field. While equipped with the Noble Arms equipped spell card, this card becomes an effect monster with this effect. Now I want to simplify Noble Knights and Noble Arms real quick, because a lot of people I feel like are getting overwhelmed, and this will help you know how to play against it. The monsters basically have these 2 monsters, Boars and Medrot, have that same effect. So it looks like a lot of text, but really it's just saying that it's a normal monster until you equip it with a Noble Arms card. That's all it does. The beginning of their effect is pretty much the same. This card becomes dark and its level is increased by 1. That is more catered to the XYZ engine of this archetype, which we don't have, so you don't really have to worry about that unless you're running like Beatdown or something like that. And then then it becomes their unique effects. During your main phase, you can reveal 3 Noble Arms cards from your deck, have your opponent randomly add 1 of them to your hand, and send the rest to the graveyard. You can only use this effect once per turn. So I play around with his effect. It doesn't come up as much, but like I said, he's more of a proxy while I get another dry stand. As for Medrot, we're gonna have the same initial effect. This card becomes dark and its level is increased by 1, and then its unique effect. Once per turn, if you control no other monsters, you can special summon 1 Noble Knight monster from your deck, except itself, in defense position, and if you do, destroy 1 equipped spell card you control. Now onto the equipped spells. They all have the same effect, which is if they get destroyed while being face up on the field, you can equip it to another Noble Knight monster you control. Once you get through that, their unique effects are not that complicated. This one is gonna let you destroy a set card on the field, being a monster or a spell and trap, at the cost of 500 attack on the monster that the card is equipped to, and the attack loss is permanent, so that's important to know. This one's going to give you a 1000 attack boost, and then it's going to decrease by 200 during each of your standby phases. This one's going to protect it's going to protect your monster from being destroyed by battle or by card effects. So once you simplify what the cards do, it's really easy to play the archetype, in my opinion. It's really important that the equip effect, once it gets destroyed, can only be activated once per turn, which means that if you destroy this card once and you equip it to something and then you destroy it again, it's not going to come back. So that's important to know, especially in the main play, which is going Medrot into equipping it with something, going into dry stand. And then dry stand, if you equip something to dry stand, it's going to destroy a card, a face-up card on the field, and that's mandatory. So at that point, you want to destroy another one of your equipped spells that you haven't already destroyed. That way you can just equip it right back. We're running 2 double cyclones. It's really good because it can take care of back row during your opponent's turn, and at the same time, if you destroy one of your equipped spells, as I mentioned, you get to equip it back. So when you combine that with dry stand, you're going to be able to destroy a face down, or a spell and trap, and you'll be able to destroy a face up card on the field. So it's a really good card. 2 econs, just for some econ cheese plays, if you're trying to go for games, since you do summon this in when you special summon with this, it does go in defense mode. So if there's only one beater in your way, you can econ cheese and try to go for game. We have Glory of the Noble Knights, which is a quick play spell. This card lets you equip any Noble Arms equip card. Wait, actually it doesn't have to be a Noble Arms. You just have to target one Noble Knight monster you control, equip it with one equip spell from your deck. So any equip spell, but obviously your targets are the Noble Arms cards. So it's really good because you can also activate this during your opponent's turn, like I said, and maybe equip your dry stand with something, mess up with their play, destroy something face up, and then go on from there. And then for last, we have one Treacherous Trap Hole because it is a heavy spell deck, and you might as well run one Treacherous Trap Hole that is never going to be dead when you draw it. You can arguably run this with Balance since you're running 6 monsters, but Balance is just very unforgiving with me. Like I played with Balance and I was getting 1 monster, 2 Cyclones, 2 Econs. You know, I wasn't getting any of my equip spells. So I just went with Restart instead. It's working for me, and also I built this deck in Yugimoto, so he doesn't have Balance. I just went with Restart. I apologize for the very long explanation, but now let's get into some gameplay. I just want to kind of, you know, break down the archetype and simplify it for those that are feeling a little bit overwhelmed in the matchup. I know one of my viewers today, I went up against them, and he commented that he instantly surrendered because he didn't want to bother reading the cards. And you know, don't overwhelm yourself. It's very easy once you simplify it. So we're gonna go for the Restart because we're trying to fish out 1 monster, and this is a much better hand. Unfortunately, we get the worst monster, the one that's a proxy right now. But my opponent goes with Martial Leaf. He didn't want to set anything because he knows I can destroy it with Arfid Dutier. I'm gonna have a hard time pronouncing this card names. And he doesn't mill anything. I was so confused here. I don't know if he was hacking and he didn't want to mill the cards that were on top. He wanted to draw into them. But very strange that he just normal summon Martial Leaf and doesn't do anything with it. I pick up Medrot. We're gonna go for the play that I'm talking about. So this is gonna get destroyed, and I'm gonna be able to equip it either back to my Medrot or equip it to Dry Stand. And I equip it into Medrot once again because I'm gonna use my Glory of the Noble Knights and equip my my Dry Stand with a different equip spell, the one that can protect them from battle and destruction. And the reason why you want this card on your Dry Stand more often than not is because, remember, he will protect your other monsters from being attacked or targeted. So if he's protected by battle and you know your opponent cannot attack the other monsters, that's just really good. And once this resolves and it's equipped, I get to destroy face up. So I destroy the Martial Leaf, go for the 1700. One thing I forgot to mention as well is that you can only control 1 of each Noble Arms card. So for example, I can't equip my second Arfa dude here. I have no idea what I'm saying. I can't equip this one because I'm already controlling 1 on the field. He goes for the Carrot. Once again, not really milling, and I feel like he was just overwhelmed with the match. He didn't do anything. He goes for the attack, but my monster is protected by battle and card effect, and he couldn't target my Medrot for an attack. At this point, I pretty much won the game. I summon my Boars just to have a 3rd monster on the field, and what I'm gonna do is suicide my Medrot so that my equip spell gets destroyed, and I can equip it back to my Dry Stand, pop the Carrot Weight Champion, and then just hit him for game. I don't know if he was running Grit. I didn't pay attention to that, but it didn't go off, so I was lucky there, I guess. A lot of Sylvan players when I was playing, it was pretty much Sylvans, Amazonas. I guess that's just the norm. I didn't see many people trying out new archetypes. I didn't run into any 6 Samurais, which is odd. I mean, I guess they're trying to get the King of Game, but usually you see people just trying out new stuff right after our main box drops. Here we're going up against Thea Gardner. I love going up against Dual Standby. It just that extra resource is so key in this deck. So we're gonna go for the same play once again. Madrot into what is this guy? Dry stand. And this time I'm equipping this back to my Madrot, because again, if you equip it to dry stand, the destruction is mandatory. It's once per turn, but it's mandatory. So if I destroy this again, I'm not gonna be able to equip it back. So we're gonna use Noble Arms of Destiny. I have the same setup that I wanted, and I hit her for 1200. Goes for the Tricky into Ganashia, Treacherous Trap Hole. And this is one of the mistakes that people made. It did not bother reading the card, which is Noble Knight Dry Stand. While you control another Noble Knight monster, your opponent cannot target your monsters with less than 800 attack, except this card for attacks or with card effects. So when he uses his Treacherous Trap Hole, he's targeting my Dry Stand, but he can't target my Madrot. So he's forced to target one of his own monsters, and my Arms of Destiny is gonna, protect him from the Treacherous Trap Hole, but then he gets destroyed by battle. I'm very lucky and I pick up a second Dry Stand. I could have special summoned, but I don't have a third one like I mentioned, so this was my second one, and it was better to just summon him in attack mode. We're gonna destroy the Tricky, and that's the game. And this is probably gonna be a longer than usual video. I apologize for that, but I'm just trying to break it down as much as possible. I maybe don't need to, because I saw that a lot of people already posted Noble Knights. I feel like everyone started playing with them yesterday and today, so you might be fed up with Noble Knights videos, but hopefully I can add a little bit more to what they've already showed you. Going up against another Jesse Anderson. I don't remember if this is another, yeah, this is Grit, so Sylvans. We had a pretty good turn one. We got Treacherous Trap Hole. I have Noble Arms of Destiny. Another play you can do with Treacherous Trap Hole once you have Noble Arms of Destiny is, if your opponent only controls one monster, you can just target your own and it's going to be protected by the card. I believe that's what I do here, because I don't pick up the card that destroys set cards. So I end up destroying a Magical Merchant. We're gonna special summon Dry Stand, and this is the key. This is where you can easily misplay. I use Madrot's effect by destroying Noble Arms of Destiny, and I'm gonna equip that to my Dry Stand, because as I mentioned, we want Dry Stand equipped with Noble Arms of Destiny. So if I target this again with my mandatory effect, I'm not gonna be able to get it back, so I have to target the card that has not been destroyed yet, which is what I do here. And here it doesn't really help me that much having Dry Stand, because I have a monster that is 1800 attack or more, so that kind of sucks. But I have the double Cyclone. I was hoping he'd said something. He doesn't, so I have to go for the attack. No Martial Leaves, I believe, so I dodge a bullet there. He does have a Komashruma. But I'm going to be able to win the game regardless. He goes for my Arms of Destiny, but I'm just going to equip it back. Do the same loop. This time I equip it to my Noble Knight Dry Stand now that he's in attack mode. And if he were to survive this turn with Grit, now he can't target or attack my Madrot. But he doesn't get the Grit, and I just finish him off for 28. We got 2 Joy Wheelers after this. I don't think they're Sylvans. I want to say it was Destiny Heroes, and the last duel was pretty intense. So if you've made it this far, you'll enjoy that last duel, my boys. We're gonna go second. Not as much pausing here because I've already explained it quite a bit, I think. Yeah, we're gonna see Grit. I thought this was Sylvans, but it turns out to be Destiny Heroes. He's gonna send Dreamer to the grave, go for the poly, summon Dangerous. And that's all good and well because I already have my Dry Stand and I have an equip spell. But instead I go for Madrot just so I can special summon, thin the deck, you know, get more resources going. And I have a follow-up play if he were to get rid of my field, which is another dry stand and an equip spell. So I'm feeling pretty good. We're gonna equip Galadin onto the dry stand so that we can destroy Dangerous. Now the mistake he made here was waiting until I equip this into my dry stand, because the equip spell is not activating the destruction effect. It is my monster, so even though he banishes this card, my effect still goes through and his Dangerous is out of commission. I have a Treacherous Trap Hole set, and I waited here because I sense that mass change. So even though my field is spent, he's also spent, and as I mentioned, I have a follow-up play, and I can hit him for 28 and win the game. He does have the enemy controller though, but I have one of my own, so it's all good there. Gonna summon another monster, and yep, he was not able to top deck like I got there, so I get the win. And for the last duel, probably one of the matchups that you guys were wondering how it goes in Amazonas, and Amazonas is still a very hard matchup, because even though you're destroying things, if you have to destroy their onslaught, you're gonna give them back a monster. So it's hard to, you know, completely get rid of all their resources, and this is probably as close of a duel as you can get. They're going first. I have a pretty good setup, so I don't use my restart. Not only do I have my Madrad, I have an quick play that I can use during their turn, and I have double Cyclone. There were many things I could have done here. I could have used double Cyclone to destroy the onslaught right away before destroying the princess. That way, you know, he doesn't get a monster back. But it was just, it was hard. It was hard to figure out what the quote-unquote correct play was here. So I just go for the safe play and destroy princess. He's gonna summon another Amazonas princess, unfortunately. Gets a willpower out of this, and I believe I go through with my attack. Yeah, I have my dry stand to protect me, quote unquote, and the Cosmic Cyclone here made my choice, you know, force my hand here. I have to activate my double Cyclone. I go for the face down because I don't want to give him another search. I mean, I end up giving him another search because I have to destroy the onslaught, unfortunately. So it's like I didn't do anything, because not only does he get a princess, he could have searched for another onslaught if he wanted to. Instead, searches for Heirloom, which is pretty smart. It's gonna get rid of my setup. Luckily for me, I have another dry stand and more equip plays. So we're gonna destroy princess once again. Hit him for 28. This time he doesn't have a monster, and here is where his deck was very interesting. I thought I had won at this point because he needed to top deck a monster, right? And if he top decks a monster, I have Glory of the Noble Knights. I can equip something to my dry stand, and I'm gonna pop that monster right away, which means I win the game. However, he's gonna go for princess, search for a second onslaught. I go here and use my glory, and the reason why I used it right away is because I didn't want to wait until the battle phase and, you know, maybe not have my toggle on and him be able to attack before I get my quick play spell off. And that might have been a mistake, as you will see here. I destroy the princess. He goes for reinforcements out of nowhere, my boys. So he's gonna get an Amazon Sage on the field. I'm sorry, he doesn't get it on the field, and this was smart in his part, because if he summons this in attack mode, and he can't attack because he's too low on life points, right? So, but at the same time, if I have an equip play spell, I can just equip it to my dry stand and destroy the Amazoness. So he's waiting until I attack, which is the smart thing to do. I don't pick up another monster, sadly, and I have to go through with my attack and just hope that I top deck before he does. But yeah, as close as you can get, man. Look, we're both out of resources. He top decks Paladin, sad face, but I top deck my Madrat, and I have my 1000 attack boost, super clutch. That lets me win the game. Very, very intense duel, man. And that is going to be a 20-minute video. I am so sorry. My videos are not usually this long, but I feel like I broke the deck down pretty good, and maybe you won't be as intimidated when you're going up against it, or if you want to try to play it. But that's gonna be it for me, guys. Thank you so much for watching. As always, like, comment, and subscribe if you want. Join my Discord if you haven't. The link will be down in the description, along with my PayPal link if you guys want to support my channel, support my content. Really appreciate that. And until next time.